calm down, cause he just wanna learn something, so I teach him something. I am the one that teach
Call
him.
me 10 wins and 20.
Is your name Vincent, Shadow?
It is.
Are you the Vincent I talked about in my original video?
I will admit to not having watched it, so possibly.
Are you Red's Rhetoric, Vincent?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay, you was the one I was talking about. Do you want to go into a bit of that history? Because I want to know a bit about...
What would you like to know?
I want to know a bit about the whole... Did Reds fuck you over for rent and stuff? Because in my video, I had screenshots of PayPal and things that came from Reds. I can grab that out for you if you want. And it's indicated Reds that did pay you, and he paid you more than he needed to sometimes.
He did pay me. He did pay me extra a few times, but he also cost me more money than he should have at times as well. Like when Sean Hufford and Hannah came to visit, and I had to be the one to go and pick them up from the airport. Not Hannah, because he did that, but he's the one that made Sean Hufford e-bag for a hotel room because he couldn't stay at his parents' house until Sean's plane landed. So then I had to call off of work and borrow my roommate, our other roommates at the time, to drive the 2.5 hours to Tampa. That was $50 there. Then I had to go get Pew later that week because Red had promised these people that they could stay in my house. It's not like he asked if they could stay in my house. He had these plans, and so this is what was going to happen. He caused me so much stress because bills were so tight that the police were called to my work while he was off and visiting his family in Tampa. The police showed up and escorted me out of the building, and I was placed on medical leave and missed 2 weeks of work until I could be cleared to go back to work. There were a few other things like that happened. And so when the GoFundMe was put together, it was put together taking all those things into consideration to help me catch up on the bills that I had come out of pocket for to cover for his mistakes, because it's not like he was paying me for gas to go do all this extra stuff for him or paying me for the time that I missed work. So yeah, he did end up paying me, I think it was an extra in total $500, but that's what I spent. And then there were late fees from the bank on top of that because my accounts were overdrawn.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. That was embarrassing. Thank you. So, in my video, I quote Reds as saying that you shared an original place of work, and that Reds claims that you went into that place of work and divulged personal information about his private mental health. That was lies.
No, there weren't any lies.
Did you divulge? Did you divulge?
Did I divulge information about what was going on at our house when my supervisors and such asked me? Yeah, because they asked me what was going on in our household, and I can't not tell my supervisor, look, here's what's going on. Here's this dude who's coming into work every day, who's crying at his desk, who's not talking to anybody, who people can see is visibly disturbed. But I'm letting you know he's okay. We're doing what we can to get these things taken care of. I spent more time trying to justify, him being okay than I did telling them anything that was wrong. At one point, I may have said that, I had confiscated his firearm because he gave it to me. Because he told me himself that he felt like eating a bullet.
So how did he find out about that? How did it all go off?
The last straw was we would share a car to work, and a week before he decided he was moving out, we had a conversation, and he point blank told me to my face that he didn't know he could trust me. So during that next week, on the Tuesday, while he was out of town, he did a flat earth debate. Well, he and Hana had broken up at the time, and she was across the planet in Japan on a trip that she had been planning for years, trying to have a good time. And she showed up in the live chat of this flat Earth debate and said something. So after the debate, he lost his mind and called her on the phone and had hours. I don't know exactly how long the conversation was. I know it was over Wi-Fi. I assume it was long. And I get, at 3 in the morning while I was half asleep, I get a bunch of Discord messages from Hana. And then I get phone calls from other people. And I woke up. And then I get into a call with Hana. And she tells me that Red has essentially told her that his Ruger was looking friendly and basically insinuating that he would eat a. I had given him back his firearm. It was in his room. So she asked me to confiscate his firearm so that he didn't harm himself, even though he wasn't home. So I did. We went to work that Wednesday night, and I hadn't, with everything going on and Red's having shown up 5 minutes before we needed to leave for work, I didn't have a chance to tell him, hey, I confiscated your gun, but seeing your state of mind right now, I will give that back to you when we get back to the house, or just give it to him when he walked in the door, which is not something you generally do when your roommate comes home. Hey, here's your gun back. And we'd gone through the drive-thru at McDonald's, gotten something to eat. We were eating in the break room right before work. And I told him, hey, when we get back to the house, because I had gotten phone calls, I took your gun, I'll make sure you get it back because it's obviously you're not in a bad spot. And because I tried to do this as privately as possible, he looked at me kind of funny. And as I was ending the statement, a coworker that he had been confiding in and gaslighting to have a bad opinion of me came into the room and overheard at least part of the statement. And so he felt like I was outing publicly that, he may be suicidal, which is not what I was trying to do. So drove home that morning on Thursday. They dropped me at the house. He took this other girl home. He came back. He demanded his firearm, which I promptly gave him. He looked me dead in the face and said, I don't think I can trust you. I looked him dead in the face and I said, I thought we were already past that, because he had told me the week before that he couldn't trust me. And then 3 days later, he moved out of my house without speaking one word to me.
So do you think you crossed the line at all, or do you think you were right to? Did you feel genuine concern to share that information, or do you think how you approached the situation was correct?
Do I feel that I may have made some mistakes in the way that I handled things? There may have been some mistakes made, but there were also the mistakes that I made that I own. Do I feel justified in the fact that I was doing the right thing at that time? Yeah. In hindsight, there may have been some mistakes, but at that time, everything, given the information I had to work with, was the right.
So you said you felt you dealt with it correctly at the time.
Yeah, I do. But see, the other problem is that at the same time that all this was happening, Red was talking to other people and getting advice and or gaslighting them, his version of things. Because everything that he tells people is always somebody else's fault. So he was giving information to people, and they were giving him advice and information just off of his story and not looking for objective facts, which is why when things went really south, nobody talked to me at all. The only people that actually talked to me were people that Red had cut ties with. So that's why Drag and Sam and Sokka and people like that know more about this stuff, because they were in off-air hangouts when Red sent me a demand for an apology with a countdown timer, trying to blackmail me to apologize for things I didn't feel the need to apologize for, and I still don't.
And what was that? What was he expecting the apology for?
Well, he said lying about him, just blatantly lying about him in public, which I've never done.
So he says to me that the blatant lying was that he wasn't in a negative mental health position and that you were just saying that to smear him.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't the guy who was coming to work shaking visibly, and that other people were obviously worried about. Because if I have to go track those people the fuck down to drag them onto the fucking internet, I probably will at this point, considering a lot of them still live in here. If I have to get on air tonight and grab my roommate who lived with us at the time, who could see his fucking state of being, I'll do it.
Do it. I think he should do it. But all I'm taking is from Red's Rhetoric position. When I made my video, I was isolated from talking to everyone, so all I had was Red's Rhetoric's version of events. And so in that version of events, he recalls it as essentially you just being a malicious roommate.
Do I sound like I'm malicious?
Well, I wouldn't be able to judge off of this interaction.
Well, I'm asking as in general as a person. Like, if you talk to anybody that knows me,
no.
Do I sound like a malicious person?
No, but
No.
The reason that I haven't spoken out against Red for over 2 years now is because I'm not a malicious person. Because I felt the vile and terrible things that he said about me would speak more to his character than it would about me if I simply fought back. Because I don't have a platform. He has thousands of people that watch him that swallow his dick and buy his bullshit all the fucking time. That's why anytime he wants a new toy, he can fire up a GoFundMe and he's got it.
So you were intimidated by his support?
I was. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I was cut off from the community as a whole, with the exception of Drag and a few others. And I was even alienated from Hana because she can get back together with him. I lost friends over this, and they didn't even come to speak with me to find out my side of the story. Just, okay, Red said a thing, I'm buying his bullshit, hasta la taco.
I've been in that position, but it's not nice. But that's just
it's not.
It's the nature of the internet. But one thing, I feel like people need to learn is to not be intimidated by shit like that, because it's when you're intimidated you don't speak out, and then there's only one narrative being heard.
Yeah, that was the problem. It was the one narrative was being heard, but I mean, there's no point for me having a counter narrative. Nobody's listening to me. I mean, they may listen to me now, but they weren't at the time. They didn't care. Most of them still don't care.